He saw the future when others couldn't even imagine it. This is the story of a man whose ideas changed the world forever. In the foggy London of the early 19th century, there lived a man who saw the future. He dreamed of a world where calculations would be accurate and fast, where mechanical devices could do the job faster than any human. This story is about one of the greatest inventors of all times, and the first computer pioneer, Charles Babbage. Charles Babbage was born in London on December 26, 1791. He was an English mathematician known as the first pioneer of computer technology. Babbage was one of the four children and came from a wealthy family. His father, Benjamin Babbage, was one of the founders of the Fleet Street banking partnership, Pratt's & Co. Since childhood, Charles has had a passion for science and mathematics. At the age of 8, he had a life-threatening fever and was sent to school in Exeter. However, his poor health continued and he was returned home to study with private tutors. By the age of 16, he enrolled at Holmwood Academy on Baker Street. The Academy Library awakened Babbage's love of mathematics, but he was soon disappointed with the level of teaching. By the beginning of the 19th century, the European Industrial Revolution was in full swing. The development of production and trade was due to the mature fields of engineering, navigation, geodesy, finance, and science. The practical application of these fields required large amounts of tables for trigonometry, tides, interest rates, multiplication, and gravity. Computing problems in science and engineering became one of the main motivations for Babbage, who sought to find a solution to improve the accuracy and speed of calculations. In October 1810, Babbage was admitted to Trinity College, Cambridge. There, he met John Frederick William Herschel, the son of the famous astronomer William Herschel, who first discovered the planet Uranus in 1781. Together, they checked the books of mathematical tables from various publishers for accuracy for the Astronomical Society in the 1820s, but constantly found errors. Incorrect calculations of tides, if made by humans, could lead to ships running aground. It was then that Babbage had the idea of creating a machine that could correctly calculate tables and print the results. This machine was called the number one difference machine. By 1822, Babbage had built a demonstration sample at his own expense, which he called the beautiful fragment. The machine could perform polynomial calculations mechanically and would be error-free. Babbage showed off the car to guests at his many social parties, one of which was Ada Lovelace, the daughter of the poet Lord Byron. Later, she said, "Last week we saw a thinking machine." Babbage applied to the government for a grant to complete the building, and by 1823 he had been allocated £1,500 to finance the development and start work. Babbage hired a mechanical engineer, but soon ran into problems. The reason was that at that time, mechanical tools could not produce components with sufficient precision necessary for the operation of the machine. He soon abandoned his idea and began work on an analytical engine, a universal computing machine. The analytical engine would have a section called the mill, which today we would call the central processing unit, and also a storage, which we would refer to as computer memory. The purpose of the machine was to eliminate the risk of human error in calculating and producing printed mathematical results. Ada Lovelace wanted to help Babbage promote his machine, and, at his request, translated the article An Outline of an Analytical Engine, written by Louis Federico Manabrea, an Italian military engineer who attended Babbage's seminars and took notes on all his lectures. This was the first publication on computer programming in the whole world. Ada Lovelace's creative mind understood the computational possibilities and uses of punched cards, such as those used in Jacquard loom. She made a series of additional notes explaining the algorithm that would allow the device to use binary numbers. Ada Byron is called the world's first ever programmer. However, Babbage did not protest when the government refused to grant him a grant for further funding. In 1847, Babbage returned to his old idea and worked for 2 years on a complete set of drawings and detailed annotations for the difference machine number 2. It required 8,000 pieces of bronze, cast iron, and steel, and was supposed to be 11 feet long, 8 feet high, and weigh 5 tons. Its function was to calculate and tabulate the data of seventh-order polynomials up to 31 decimal places. The machine would not only calculate with unerring accuracy, but would also print a hard copy with ink and produce stereotypical plates by pressing the results into plaster. In 1852, at the age of only 36, Ada Lovelace fell ill and died soon after. In 1871, Babbage himself died without realizing his dream. The drawings were placed in the library of the Science Museum in London. More than 130 years later, in 1985, the drawings and annotations for the difference machine number 2 were found by the museum's new curator, Lawrence Wade, who was convinced that the machine could be built. It took 17 years to build, and it worked. The influence of Babbage's ideas on the development of computer technology and science cannot be overestimated. His concepts and developments became the basis for the creation of modern computers and computing devices. Babbage's ideas, including the use of punched cards and the concept of programmable device, continue to influence science and technology even many decades after his death. Charles Babbage, a man who was ahead of his time, left us a legacy that still affects our world. His dreams and inventions became the basis for the technologies that we use every day. Thank you.